Hey, we are back! And if you didn't know, I'm giving away a Demon Souls poster. Have you sent me your email to kanashimi@918thefan.com? No? Do it now! And even better, I have Gia here from AnimeVice. Would you like to explain a little bit about your role on AnimeVice?
Yeah, I am the editor-in-chief, which means that I am in charge of all the pretty words that get posted to the site that are by anybody on the staff. I am not in charge of what the users post, for better or worse. So all of the great content that you see in the videos and on the news page and elsewhere on the site, I had a hand in at some point, although we have a couple of other writers, John and Chris, and a fantastic video editor, Anna, and so they are also well-deserving of credit on that front as well.
Now, how did you get involved with AnimeVice? I mean, that's sort of pretty neat that you get to basically oversee all these articles and whatnot.
Boy, that's kind of either a really long story or a really short story. I started doing some freelance work for Anime Insider way back when. And when I first sent in my resume was when a guy named Rob Bricken was the editor-in-chief, and he left before I started writing for them, but he took my resume with him. And so later on, he hired me to work for a site called Anime Online, which Funimation's parent company, Navarre, started. The site kind of fell apart 6 months later, and they laid us off. And I worked some freelance for about another 6 months, and then I got offered the job working for a company called Whiskey Media that was developing this anime site, which didn't really have a name at the time or anything. So I've actually had a hand in all of the background development of the database and everything that we've been putting together. And it's real fun. I don't actually get to, I don't actually tell people that I, quote, watch anime for a living, unquote, because I actually almost never have time to watch it anymore. Kind of like, I think one of your guests yesterday, the guy who runs Stuttering Craig, I stutter even as I say his name, was talking about how since he runs the site, he doesn't have as much time to play games. It's exactly that.
No, I can fully understand. Being a part of 918 The Fan, I haven't watched anime in so long, and my gaming is dwindling to nothing. But
oh no,
it's for the better good, so. Now, do you ever do you write about your passion anytime, like something you're really interested, or are you sometimes stuck with articles that you're like, I don't really care about this anime so much?
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, you have to write articles about stuff that you don't like. The nice thing about being kind of blog style is that I'm allowed to say what I don't like. I don't have to be super positive about everything. Sometimes I can kind of joke about it and poke fun about how, like, okay, I don't know diddly squat about Gundam. It's true. I watched, like, a couple episodes of Wing on mute, mostly because the boys were pretty, but all that blather about war was kind of boring. And I did watch some Double O, actually, but for the most part, Gundam, not my scene. And so that's kind of, a joke between me and all the readers and everything. We do have a Gundam Maniac who handles a lot of our Gundam-related articles, though. But, I do definitely get to, like, we just finished streaming Natsume Yujincho, which Crunchyroll gave us access to. And so today, I did a post about Nyanko-sensei merchandise, because I would really love to get a Nyanko-sensei plushie, but they're, like, really hard to get, and $150 now and stuff like that. So I just did this whole post on a bunch of different merchandise of him that I found kind of while I was looking around for a plushie. So I can kind of, I have a lot of freedom, definitely, mostly because the guys who I work for don't know a lot about anime, really.
So you're pretty much the central hub of information then, would you say?
Definitely, yeah, at this point, because our other writers are not full-time at the moment. But yeah, I guess you could call me sort of the central figure for now.
For now.
For now.
Have you ever, out of curiosity, butted heads with the Gundam Maniac on your site?
Well, we have one in particular, actually. I don't know if he's listening right now. I know he's on our IRC, and I mentioned the show. He's Hiro Yui, and I know he said he was going to listen. And we butt heads, but not so much about Gundam stuff, actually. He really wants me to watch Fate Stay Night again. I watched, like, the first 7 episodes and just completely lost interest, and he always tries to get me, actually not so much into the anime, but into playing the visual novel, which, of course, I never have time for. I don't have time for the miles and miles long list of stuff that my readers think I should do. But yeah, no, we definitely have, along with plenty of the other readers, we have vigorous debates. Usually not so much giant, like, flame wars kind of stuff. Um,
But that sort of makes your community really dynamic, though.
exactly, I mean, everybody who writes on the site is a human being who knows, this stuff and doesn't know that stuff and likes these things, but maybe not those other things. And we all just kind of get along, mostly.
Hopefully. Maybe.
Hopefully. Most of the time.
So your users can actually contribute to the site. How does that work?
Well, users have their own user blogs, so they can obviously do a lot of stuff there, and we get some really, really great posts. We had one user who actually did all of his own 2009 anime awards, which I decided not to do this year personally for the site, but he set one up, and I thought that was fantastic. A couple of users will do their own video features and things like that. There's also a database, a wiki-style database, so users can add in their favorite characters and shows and creators and voice actors and everything. So there's a lot of participation there. A lot of users actually like, and this is actually kind of a carryover from our sibling site AnimeVice, which is a little bit older. They have a huge role-playing component on their forums, and we have some of that as well. We have a set of users who really, really enjoy that. There's a few other ways that you can play. We have some quizzes, we have trivia, and we also have battles, which is where you can pick two characters and have them kind of fight each other out. And a bunch of places for you to upload photos and things like that as well. So lots of stuff for users to do over at AnimeVice.
That fighting battle thing almost sounds like Pokemon to me.
A little bit, but you don't get to choose a team. You just get to pick, like, I just clicked on the battles page, and I think this is a randomly generated, it's Lelouch Lamperouge from Gias versus Kate Ashley from Red Garden. I'm pretty sure I know who's going to win this one, but it's good stuff.
If you want hilarity, make anime characters fight each other.
Yes, definitely. Especially ones that have, like, nothing to do with each other. Like, you want to have, like, Kamina fight, like, I don't know, Doraemon or something like that. Something completely nonsensical.
That'd be hilarious. I'd love to just do a million of those.
Please do, by all means. There's a big play button up at the top, and right under that you can find the trivia, the quizzes, and the battles.
Will do. Awesome. Out of curiosity, what other anime fandoms are you into? You obviously watch anime and read it, but do you cosplay or anything at all?
I do. It's been a while since I've cosplayed at a convention, actually, without a really, really specific excuse to do so, because believe it or not, it's hard to know when you're going in for an interview with a Japanese director whether he will be flattered or really, really creeped out by you, like, dressed up as a character from the show that he directed, or worse yet, a show that he had nothing to do with. So generally, I don't get to do as much cosplay as I used to, but my first cosplay actually was at my very first anime convention, which was Anime Expo in 1999. When I was a whopping 15 years old, I was dressed as Tiramisu from Sorcerer Hunters, with the big old red cloak and stuff like that. Good fun. Probably not super appropriate for a 15-year-old, but my mother was very patient with me.
Well, how did your family support sort of this anime fandom and then it becoming your job?
I really have the best parents. They did not bat an eye when I wanted to be a theater major originally, and they wanted to support me and help me get into a good school for that. I think they were probably a bit relieved when I moved to a journalism major, which is usually a little more profitable than a theater major. But my parents they're dyed-in-the-wool nerds themselves. My mom is a huge Lord of the Rings nut. They're both computer nerds. I mean, I really come by it very honestly. I remember my favorite story with them is they rented a video game console way back before I think I was even born, for a party they were going to throw. And they took it home and they sat down, they started playing some of the games, just to kind of get a sense of how it would work and how to kind of incorporate it into their event. And, this was probably at like 6 or 7 o'clock. And suddenly they looked down and look at their watches and they realized that it's like 3 in the morning. And so ever since then, they banned themselves from video games. That's the kind of nerd my parents are. It's very, very much something I don't know if it's genetic per se, but they're very supportive. And they love that I get to do something that I love to do. So it's never really been a big problem.
That's actually really neat. I know that a lot of parents who see anime and it's like, oh, it's a fad, you'll get over it, and not many people realize that it can be a career like this.
Absolutely. Well, and it's something that's very difficult to do as a career. I mean, I really have had a lot. I mean, honestly, I can kind of trace my entire career down to like really impressing Rob Ricken when I worked for him, because he's the one who suggested me for the position I have now. I mean, and so much of it is absolutely luck, and also, I mean, you really have to be willing to work your butt off. I mean, I posted a lot when I was working for Anime Online, and I did it quickly and I did it well. And I think I posted 21 posts in one day once, actually.
Wow, very impressive.
That was an insane day. And I would work, when I was very much, kind of off hours, like something would happen over the weekend and the weekend guys wouldn't be around for me to try and send it to. So I'd be like, oh, fine, I'm going to post it. So I mean, it's not something that you can get into just because you're a fan. You really, really have to work for it. And you also have to have, I think, a bit of luck.
Would you say that knowing the right people is also helpful?
Definitely. I mean, it's not like you have to know people in the industry from the get-go in order to get into the field. And I do think it's actually a bit harder now because the print magazines with, Anime Insider, New Type USA, they're gone. They don't do freelance work anymore. Otaku USA does a bunch still, thankfully, and some of the writers that work there are really amazing. And I don't know if Anime News Network's Protoculture Addicts does freelance work. They might. But it's a lot fewer opportunities than there used to be for kind of a foot in the door, because when you're writing contract, then they can say, okay, we'll give you a try writing this one short little blurb review and we'll see how you do. And you do it well, and you get it in on time, and they say, okay, we'll give you something a little bit bigger. That's a real great way to kind of make those steps. And that was, I mean, how I really did it. And there's a lot less opportunity for that now. So I think it's harder than it was even just a few years ago.
Well, awesome. We'll end a little bit on that note. We're going to come back from a break. But first, I'm going to remind you, we have an awesome-tastic Demon Souls poster we're trying to give away. Ever wonder what's going on in the anime world? Check out 918 The Fan every weekday for the newest iStock. We'll fill you in on everything you need to know in 3 minutes or less. Only on 918thefan.com. And we're back. Have you emailed me about that Demon Souls poster? Kanashimi@918thefan.com. You can win a free poster. Why haven't you emailed me yet? Also, I'm still here with Gia, and I get to talk to a girl for once. Yay!
Woo! We have to braid each other's hair, nail polish, stuff like that.
Oh, it'll be wonderful. We'll have a sleepover.
Yay!
You don't know how odd it is, because I've worked with 918 The Fan for about 2 years, and it's always been boys. We've never had another girl on the team.
Wow.
And then all the guests we've had so far on the station have all been boys. So I think you're the first reaction with a girl on the internet I've had in literally 2 years.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I mean, all the people, I was the first female employee at Whiskey Media, but I was also working off-site, so it kind of wasn't a big thing. And then they brought in Sarah, who works at Comic Vine, and she came in before I moved to be nearer to the office and come into the office every day. So it was kind of this weird thing where, I was a girl, but I wasn't here, so it didn't really count. I don't know. It hasn't been too big a deal for me, though. Actually, I find girls in the anime fandom, every once in a while I run into some girl who makes a big deal about being a female anime fan. And now, while I understand why that's a thing in comics and video games, which have traditionally been very male-dominated, anime in the US has pretty much always been relatively well represented when it comes to women. I mean, attendance at anime conventions has been about 50-50 male-female for years and years and years and years. So, I don't know, I always found that kind of weird.
Definitely. When I was going through high school and, the anime boom was sort of happening in the early 2000s, it was really mostly the girls that I saw react to anime, because they were all, oh, this guy's so cute, blah, blah, blah. And nowadays I kind of see more of the male spectrum, but when I go out to conventions, you're right, you see both and both.
Well, it depends on the segments that you're in too. It's actually really funny. I spend time in an IRC channel, not AnimeVice's, but another one, that is a bunch of guys who all got together as Ranma 1/2 fans, and fans who wrote Ranma 1/2 fan fiction. And we had this big discussion about whether more women or men write fan fiction. Now, I maintain, I'm pretty sure that, globally speaking, that fan fiction is more of a girls' thing. Like, I mean, when it comes to like Harry Potter fan fiction, Lord of the Rings fan fiction, lots of women.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that.
In this little segment of Ranma 1/2, there's just like this huge number of male fanfic authors. It's kind of fun.
It's kind of amazing that so much of the audience seems to like almost ignore the other. Like, we're the dominant one. No, we're the dominant one.
Yeah, well, we all get along in the end. There isn't too much gender clashing. I mean, like I said, the people who make a big deal out of gender in the anime fandom don't tend to get a lot of response because it is really pretty 50-50, and so it's not that big a deal. Granted, now on, like, for example, on the AnimeVice IRC channel, there are not a lot of female regulars. IRC is, I think, much more male dominated, but that does not mean that the anime fandom is mostly male.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, on our IRC, I'm pretty sure we mostly see boys, if you include the team as well, because they're all male. They're all smelly otakus. Anyway.
That's the best kind.
I know, right? But back on topic, you did mention new type, and I was curious if you thought that, you know, internet blogging on anime has grown and sort of dominated the more traditional magazine style, you know, real print.
Definitely in terms of sheer number, absolutely. I mean, it's become pretty clear as New Type USA folded, as Anime Insider folded, while hundreds and hundreds of anime blogs continue to be created every single day. If you talk about like the number of sort of professional level anime sites, there aren't as many of those, but there are a lot of quote amateur or unquote blogs that do very well for themselves, and that also, you know, the people writing for them take it very seriously, and they go to cons and they are treated every bit as a professional press outlet. So I always found that kind of cool personally, although it is sad to see some of the print magazines go the way of the dodo, especially, I mean, I worked for both Anime Insider and New Type USA, so I had a very personal and financial stake in their disappearance, unfortunately. I'd actually just turned in an article on Azumanga Daioh the day before Anime Insider went out, and I was like, I wonder if I'll still get a check for that.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I actually remember when I went to Anime Vegas, I believe 2008. It was Anime Vegas 2008. I worked at a maid cafe, and we had to host, I'm pretty sure it was a new type funeral. And
Ooh.
it was not pretty. We had I think it was Kettle and Glass who came in and said a few words. And then everybody, like, we had people leaving and like crying. It was pretty extreme.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, especially New Type USA was very much a magazine, you know, because they got the name from a Japanese magazine, which does still exist. You know, I think that they kind of had a particular cachet with a certain segment of the fandom. And Peak really didn't do a lot to have. I mean, Peak was kind of almost a death rattle. It was really sad.
What would you say the advantages are of a online blog or an online professional site?
Well, obviously, timing is the big one. I mean, anime fans, because of the internet, because of fan subbing, because of all this stuff, they are, even more so than perhaps average, they are very big on instant gratification. They want to know the news then, right that moment, right now. They want the review as soon as that episode is aired in Japan. They want, you know, they have become kind of addicted in a way to the very fast news cycle, which is why, you know, I can't predict any day what my day will wind up being like, because I don't know what's going to happen news-wise. Anything could come up. Somebody could pass away, you know, or somebody could announce a really, really cool license that gets everybody really excited, or, you know, anything. Every day is so different. So that's definitely a big advantage for the blogs.
Have you ever been, like, called away from something important in real life to, you know, write about anime?
Whew. Well, the problem is when something really, really important is going on in real life, I'm usually not staring at my computer screen. So, and you know, I don't, you know, none of my coworkers would like necessarily call, because the coworkers who would actually be looking at news-related stuff are also the writers. So they would probably jump on anything. So no, I don't think that's ever happened. I suppose one of these days I could get a call, you know, while I'm in the middle of something. I'd have to make that decision, but it hasn't popped up yet.
Well, that's good at least for your personal life.
Yes, indeed.
Now, you also do research on conventions and whatnot, right? You, what's the word I'm looking for? You cover them.
Yes, I attend conventions. I do a lot of news coverage at them, and I do a lot of interviews and things like that. I wouldn't say I research them, especially. You know, I'm not like gonna put together a book or anything, but I find the convention setting pretty fascinating. Mostly within the anime world. I haven't done as much conventioning outside of anime cons. I do Comic Con in San Diego, and I've done New York Comic Con, but I've never been to Dragon Con. Although I would kind of like to check that out someday, or gaming convention. I went to QuakeCon once briefly, and that was kind of cool. But I mean, you know, they're all very different. But I think anime cons are really cool, and I think especially because, you know, my fandom kind of got established on IRC. A lot of the people I knew who were in anime were on IRC, and conventions can be a really cool and pretty safe place to meet up with some of those people because you're in a big group. You probably have a parent or a friend with you who's, you know, with you and safe, and then as long as you don't go anywhere kind of weird and off-site, you know, you've got people around you all the time. So that was also a nice bonus of the anime convention. And then as I started going to more and more of them as I was working at them, it became almost, you know, it's like I was still going there more for my friends, but now my friends are people who work in the industry. I always spend like the first free time I have, I go through the exhibit hall and I go say hi to everybody. I say hi to Adam at Funimation. I say hi to the guys at Media Blast. You know, whoever's there, I go say hi to. So, you know, conventions are still fun.
Was there a big difference between when you were going to conventions as a fan and then going to conventions as someone who was, you know, trying to cover it?
Oh, huge, 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 huge. I never went to panels when I was going as a fan. When I was going as a fan, my entire convention experience was going through the exhibit hall and buying things and meeting up with friends from out of town that I wouldn't normally get to see. And that was pretty much it. We might occasionally go to a screening, or if one of them wanted to go to a panel really bad, I might tag along. But I would rarely even look at the panel schedules. I was like, whatever, I don't care.
I'm sort of the same way, so don't feel bad.
But then I started working them. The first convention I attended professionally was actually New York Comic Con 2000. Seven was the year we launched Anime Online. That was where we announced the launch. We had a panel and everything, and it was good times. It was different, you know, being introduced to all these people who worked at all these companies that I was sort of vaguely familiar with. But I mean, at the time, I didn't know anybody or anything. I mean, I could not have told you the history of Viz or the difference between Funimation and ADV. You know, they meant so little to me before I started working in the field. And then all of a sudden I started to get to know these people, and now all the companies, I almost want to draw a little, like, you know, OS-Ton type doodles of all the different companies because they all have such a personality to me now.
I mean, I can see how that works. And when we originally started covering conventions in 2009, I had always gone to conventions for fun. I was part of the Maid Cafe. I cosplayed, but suddenly everything was a schedule, and suddenly everything had to be done right now or on time.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's a huge change. It's just amazing.
Yeah, no, it's the worst when, like, okay, you're the only one covering at that particular convention, and 2 panels are going on at the same time that you need to be at, and you're just like, eh.
What do I do?
I'm very fortunate in my friends. I would often have friends who would send me a text message from within, you know, they would go to the other panel for me and send me a text message of any announcements or whatever. Chris Kudo is one of my longest time readers, actually. He followed me from Anime Online to my own blog at giapet.net, and then over to Anime Online. And he was always a big, big help on that at the New York cons for me and at Anime Expo. So a little shout out to him if he's listening.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do any of the things that I could have without a cameraman. Who
oh, God, yeah.
Generally is my editor-in-chief, Kibbs. I would not be able to set up the camera and make sure the microphone's in the right place and, you know, prep the person I'm interviewing. There's no way I could do all that.
Yeah, no. Trying to do video on your own is just insane. I've tried it like once, and you know, I could shoot some video on my own of everything else, but I could never do video of me. It just, even with a tripod, I had a really hard time getting that to work out. So having somebody else to shoot video is, if you're going to do video content at a con, you really have to have somebody there to shoot the video. And preferably they are also the person who can handle all of the, like, processing and uploading stuff, because let me tell you, I never had time. at a con because I was running to panels, I was going to parties, I had to be at this place, I had to do this interview. Man, no, I just wouldn't have time for it.
We totally had that experience at Anime Expo. It was the
Yeah.
biggest convention we covered, and we were up in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then, you know, we weren't home until about 9, and then we still had to upload everything, and we still had to post things on the website and cover everything, and it was just, we were so tired. I just remember, you know, we slept in the hotel room 2 days afterwards. We bought 2 more days afterwards and just slept.
Wow, that's impressive.
We just crashed. We were all dead.
Nice. You know, Expo is really, I mean, especially if you're covering it, Expo is really its own experience entirely, just because it's kind of become the industry con. New York Anime Fest has been pulling together actually some really, really strong guests, and a lot of the manga companies are based in New York. Not all of them, obviously, but a good few of them. Media Blasters is out there, and Yen Press and Del Rey are out there, and, you know, they've been getting a lot going there. But Anime Expo is still kind of the place to go for all the anime companies, because, well, except Viz hasn't been showing up lately. I hear there was some unhappiness involving Anime Expo's program guide, which Viz published for some years and stopped a couple years ago. But at least that's the rumor on the grapevine I've always heard.
Well, that's good to know, actually.
But for the most part, all the anime companies have a presence. And of course, some of the Japanese companies have a presence at Anime Expo, which is huge. Huge, huge, huge. I mean, you know, actually, it's kind of funny. We used to get bigger guests in some ways. You know, Hideaki Anno went to Expo one year, and I don't think he's planning to return anytime soon. There was some talk actually on the AnimeCon's mailing list about this just recently, about how there were some really phenomenal guests like 5 or 10 years ago, and, you know, very few things compared to that these days.
I think most conventions nowadays are trying to get who's popular, especially in the English industry, and it's not so much who was popular yesteryears.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a lot cheaper to fly in Vic Mignogna from, actually I think he lives in Southern California, from Southern California up to San Francisco than it would be to try and fly out somebody from Japan. And a lot of problems that they've had, I think, are Japanese guests not filling rooms, which is embarrassing. You know, you've got somebody there who in Japan is this, you know, huge, huge star who directed all these amazing shows, and then, you know, only 6 people show up to his panel. I mean, that doesn't look so great. Whereas, you know, Vic Mignogna will fill a room really easily. It's
pretty amazing how all that goes down.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to take a really short break, do one more music, you know, jamboree. And I still have this Demon Souls poster to give away. Why haven't you emailed me at kanashimiya@918thefan.com? It's Demon Souls. Everybody loved that game, except how frustratingly hard it was. So we'll be right back. 918thefan.com. Have you logged on today?
Who, me? No. No?
iStock's daily news show, video reviews, articles, forums, and an anime directory. Don't get left behind. Log in today. Only on
918thefan.com?
918thefan.com.
All right, 918thefan.com.
Back. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, thank you. This is Gia from AnimeVice. If you've been living under a rock and haven't been listening to 918 The Fan.
Yes, rocks are good. I have a very homey rock, actually, that I live under.
Are you like Patrick from SpongeBob?
Yes. No, actually, I was trying to think of, because we were talking about Dragon Age during the break, and now I'm picturing, like, Shale, the rock golem from the game, like, kind of just bending over, and I'm, like, huddled under it.
That's some very nice imagery. That would be kind of a cool house, or at least a travel person if you were on long journeys. You could just get the rock to bend over, and it's like, oh, no more rain.
I don't think Shale would go for it, though. Shale's pretty badass, and Shale does not take any guff. Guff is what I want to use there.
No problemo. So, out of curiosity, what projects are you working on now? Like, how is AnimeVice going to develop?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're working a lot on a few changes to our editorial. We're going to make our news page actually more just newsy and have some of the fun stuff be in other sections of the site. That's something we're talking about right now. I've got some more video features coming up. Actually, I'm really excited for this video feature, which we've recorded the first volume, I guess, of it's called Trailer Blast, which is where literally we just sit there and watch through trailers and kind of comment on them, and then we edit out the boring comments and speed up the trailers. So all you get is the fun stuff.
Oh, that's kind of funny, actually, because we did something similar called Trailer Park a while back when Valkyria Chronicles first came out as an anime, and then Full Metal Alchemist as Brotherhood.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. We got a lot of good commentary off of it, and we made fun of each other.
Actually, are you still doing those, or was it just like a one-time thing?
Sandy wanted to pick them back up, but it's still kind of been on the back burner, what with the radio station and whatnot.
Yeah, that would do it. Interesting. Now I kind of feel bad. I didn't know
don't worry.
But so we're pretty excited about that. I'll tell you what I really want to do, and I'm nobody copy my idea. It's stupid to say, but I want to do like riff tracks for anime. That's my ultimate goal, is to have like just downloadable MP3s. You sit there, you line them up with the show you're watching, and play them, and there's us making fun of the show as you watch it. Yeah, very MST3K style.
I would think there'd be a lot of legalities in there, though.
Well, but the key is, and the reason why Riff Tracks is legal is because it's literally just an MP3 of whoever's doing the commentary talking. You don't get the video file or anything. You don't get any of the audio for the video. You have to own your own copy.
Right, I understand.
So there should not be any legal issues there, as long as, of course, we are ourselves watching legal copies, which, of course, we would. So.
So, do you have anything else to promote, like your Twitter, or your Facebook?
Absolutely. AnimeVice is available on Twitter, which is AnimeVice. We are available on YouTube. YouTube's a little trickier because AnimeVice was taken, so we are AVice Vids on YouTube. We are also on Facebook, but not MySpace because MySpace sucks. You can get a lot of our videos on YouTube, and they're a lot more convenient for some people than on the site. So I highly encourage you guys to go watch some of the videos there, and please comment on them if you do. We have a sad dearth of comments on YouTube, and I would like to see that improve.
Rate, comment, favorite, share.
Well, we have a lot of really cool video features that we do. We do a 3-minute expert, which is where I go through and I talk about, some anime trope or topic or creator or whatever, and I just go for 3 minutes and I tell you everything about it with, clips and visuals to go along with it. We have our Soup Reviews, which is obviously our video reviews. We have Quick Picks, which is my weekly feature on what's out this week. And we also have Straight Up News every Monday. That's just a catch up on the last week's news. And whatever other random stuff comes up. We have a lightsaber chopsticks unboxing video up there right now, actually, that I'm quite fond of. We had a little lightsaber duel.
Sounds like a lot of fun, ironically.
Yeah, actually it was a lot of fun, because it said it came as a set of 2 pairs of chopsticks. We had 4, so we had this 4-way little lightsaber. I don't know, you can't call it a duel if there's 4 people, but I don't know what you do call it. Melee battle, I suppose.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty good, and then no one was hurt in the filming of that video, for the record. Just to throw that out there.
She's lying.
We have a lot of fun with the videos, so I definitely would like to point some people over to the YouTube channel. But you know what? If you can't make it there, just hit animevice.com. We're always around, always chatting on the forums, posting news, videos, whatever we feel like doing, and it's a lot of fun.
So you heard her first. Go to AnimeVice. But listen to 918 The Fan at the same time. Look
you
what
can
you can
do that.
Yes.
It's excellent. It works out really. I've been doing that pretty much all morning and a bunch of yesterday too. It actually worked out really well. Totally had me in the mood.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining the show.
Absolutely, anytime.
And I'm definitely going to ask for our 918 The Fan tradition, which is really funny because people fumble it a lot. But we want to ask you for a bump.
What do I say? I could say anything.
Most preferably, you would say my name, insert here, if you forgot it, from AnimeVice, and you're tuned into 918 The Fan.
Got it. All right, here I go. I'm Gia Manry, and you are tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
Awesome. Thank you. It was energetic. I loved it.
You bet. Energy I can do.
Awesome. So guys, now you know all about AnimeVice, and we'll make sure to promote them on our website and put the interview up later today or tomorrow. So if you missed it, or you want to watch it again or hear it again, it'll be there.
Awesome.
So we will talk to you later. We're going back to the music. Signing out.